Yeah. Yeah. Shalom. Yeah. With true Hebrew Israelites come out here week in, week out to prophesy the downfall of America. To bring in the hopeful elect, right? Which will be the elect, seal the elect. 2/3 of our own nation will perish with this place called Babylon the Great, which is America, right? The daughter of Babylon. And the hopes that we may be part of that elect number to be saved out of the set perils that's about to come, the race wars, the famine, the death, the pestilence, the charagma, ultimately the hour of temptation. So Lord will that the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, be with us, and you brethren and you sisters that watch, and that's hopeful in this hour, this last hour, right? This last moment, seconds, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Ruach HaKodesh. Give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. All right? So this is just, I guess I'm just going to do something back to the basics, so to speak. Today I seen a video on Facebook, and this is Esau was basically bitching, complaining. So he did it was a funny skit, but in the skit, of course, they had Esau complaining about how he had his birthright took it from Jacob, and
took it by Jacob.
Well, his thing is it was Jacob's fault. He said in the video, he says that Jacob was standing there with a bowl of soup, like a vengeful ex-wife, ready to set him up. It was all a setup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And in his eyes,
he was all too eager to take it.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, let's start with that. The Genesis 25, and yeah, back to the basics real quick.
25 and what?
25 and I think it's 21. Might as well just start there. Start right to the basics. Right.
This is Genesis 25 and 21, and it reads, "And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
Mm-hmm.
And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus?"
Right. So she's going to the seers, right? And this time, this was the prophets, which were seers at that time, right? And she required of the Lord, and she wanted to know why am I thus? If this is meant to be a blessing, then why such the turmoil, right? And that's what you should be asking too, as a people who say you believe in God, and if those you wish people are the people, and they so-called fulfilled that prophecy of them getting back in the land, if this is so, why is there so much turmoil? Right? You should be asking yourself that, right? So go ahead. Matter of fact, I think I got the video right here. I don't know if let's see if I can pull it up.
Name's Esau. Name's Esau. The one who sold his birthright for soup. And guess what? Still eating it. Because some of y'all throw shade, I'll trade your dignity for someone who left you on read, so don't judge me. And Jacob? That boy was waiting like a passive-aggressive ex with a bowl of soup and a contract. I was lightheaded and he said, "Say it, give me your birthright." Look, I didn't even get chicken, okay? It was lentils. Plant-based betrayal. I sold generational wealth for a vegan option. Don't act like you've never flopped. Homeboy dressed up like me, faked my whole vibe, voice cracking and all with the gopher. And poor dad was like, "Yep, sounds like Esau." The audacity. I gave up a divine calling for soup. You gave yours up for a DM from someone with a private account. Y'all trade your purpose, you're calling for a situation with no carbs. Same flop, different stew. Bro got the blessing, the land, the legacy. But at least I didn't scam a blind old man using cosplay and goat fur. But go ahead, quote your god of Jacob, I'm chilling. Everyone's like, did you forgive him? Yeah, after I grilled a goat and remembered I'm still the fine twin. Birthright or not, still hairy, still fed. Say what you want. Esau flopped, Esau failed, blah blah, but guess what? I'm still eating. And judging by y'all's life choices, so did you.
Right? So I seen that, and so I did a lesson on that. And I was like, yeah, we got to do a lesson on that. It's just back to the basics, because you know this is Esau. You know, he's the victim villain.
Put that out.
It's gonna burn all the way through. Yeah, he's the victim villain, right? that's this guy.
Yeah, that's
you
that
know?
new AI generated videos that you're seeing a lot of.
Right? Yeah. But they made it funny. It was pretty funny though. But as you can see, this guy.
Truth in jest though. That's an old saying in the world. You know what I mean?
Right. Go ahead.
It says, let's see, Salakia, and let's see, treated and was entreated of him, and Rebecca his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. Right. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Right, 2 nations.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Right, 2 manner of people, man. The self-proclaimed so-called white man is different than Jacob, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. We had totally different mannerisms. Even we're kind of different, but then there's a lot of super similarities in the things that we do. That's how we know that we have to be related. And even when I was in the world, I ended up getting a job out on the reservation, and just some of the things I was doing, I was like, man, they got to be our people, like something, you know. And then it wasn't that I knew, it was just something with them. I'm just like, they don't make sense. Like, they do some of the things we do, like, but I just didn't know. Like, I could point it out directly, the way we could do it now, right? But I knew that there was something. But Esau, this dude is nothing like us, bro. Right? Things he liked to do, things that's going, yeah. Hey, man, you're jumping off of skyscrapers and buildings and putting your heads in lions and just chasing alligators, jumping in ocean filled with sharks.
He moves without care.
Right.
Where Jacob always considering the things that he's doing most of the time.
Right.
Except what his new generation, they kind of have learned to move in the manner of Esau.
Right.
They've fully assimilated into his culture and his ways. But yeah, you could definitely see the difference. If you're an observer.
Right. Go ahead.
It says, and she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, Salakia. Matter of fact, I'll keep going. And 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be.
Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Can you go into that word struggle? Because it said they struggled together within her. Right? So, let's go to the blue letter. Go to that word struggle.
Always a fan of the blue letter. It just shuts down. Sometimes don't want to cooperate, but Lord Yahweh wrought his idle work. Alright, good so far. Genesis
22, I believe.
And the children struggled. Yep. This is struggled together. So they have in here Strong's H7533. And get the pronunciation.
It's sense.
Rashia.
Strong's H7533. About sats.
Sets. Says and struggled together. And says rases, verb, primitive root, to crush, oppress.
Oh, oppress, yeah. And that's basically what we both did to each other, right? In the time that Jacob ruled, Jacob oppressed Esau. But in the time of Esau's rule, he oppresses Jacob, right? So that's why there's two manner of people that are separated in their bowels, and those people were going to, at one point, a particular time in life or another, were going to oppress each other, because that's what the struggle together in the womb is that oppression, right? But the difference is how you oppress, and the difference is the Lord already said that the elder shall serve the younger, right? That's the biggest difference, because the younger is going to inherit the entire kingdom, right? Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible, right?
I was looking for that where it says when you shall break the yoke from off your neck. As far as Esau.
Oh, that's in 7. That's in 27. Which we'll get that.
You want more definitions of
Yeah,
this?
yeah, keep going, because it's one.
Says,
it's a super impressed, like oppressed. That's the one where it says totally oppressed, kind of in a way.
It says
crush,
egg, to quail, or quail, to crush, get crushed, be crushed, to crush, oppress, crushed, participle passive, nephel, to be crushed, be broken.
Oh yeah, hey, that's Esau does that. Say it again. The partial.
Crushed, participle passive.
Right.
Nephel.
Esau will be like in a passive way oppress you. You know, like they'll snicker. They're quiet, and really all like Scripture says, their mouth is they're drawing swords. In their mouth they praise you, but in their hearts they're drawing swords, right?
Though he come crouching.
Right. Yeah. Kind of.
It says
That's that passive. What they call passive aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
That's Esau. He's big with that, right?
To be crushed, to be broken. Pail, to crush in pieces, to grievously oppress.
There it is. That's the one I was looking for. To grievously oppress. And that's the difference between the way Jacob has done Esau. When Esau was in captivity, I'm pretty sure Jake put hell on him, but not to the point where you forgot who you are, right? Not to the point that I brought in heroin and crack and all sorts of madness, right? I brought in the sodomite agenda, the ABC agenda, right? I brought in stop and frisk, right? You know what I mean? Every agenda that you could possibly think of. This dude is he does the excessively oppressed. What is it? Was it excessively?
Grievous.
Oh, grievously oppressed, right? Yeah. So this guy is grievously oppressed, but that's what it means. You're struggling, right? But we can go back to that.
And then continuing on, it reads. I'll start at 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb,
Right.
and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 2
manner of people shall be separated from their bowels. Right.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Right. And when you look at Jake, when it comes to we'll deal with, because people like to deal with the physical, but academically, you know, smart wise, Jacob has created everything that you see.
They just don't get credit for it.
They don't get credit for it, man. The telephone, the elevator, the car,
yeah.
the light,
air condition,
the air condition,
you know,
the
street
things,
lights,
the street lights,
the cotton gin.
Yeah, your cotton gin, was it the tee for golf? Jake created the golf tee, right?
And they don't even want him in that sport.
Yeah, they didn't want Jake in the sport. They was even saying, what's it? Another sport they don't really think Jake. Hockey. Jake's created that. They were saying Jake's created that from Canada. Created that. what was it? The other the rodeo. Jake's created that. That all come from Jake's, man. Come from Israelites, man.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Aztecs have some game where they were throwing the ball through the hoop?
Oh yeah.
You know
The
what
basketball,
I mean?
like basketball. Yeah, the Aztecs.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like Esau don't do nothing but see what you have and take it. You know? That's all he does. That's all. That's his MO, modus of operation. If he sees it and it looks appealing to him, he's gonna take it.
Well, if he figure he can make some money off of it, yeah. And money making endeavors, yeah, that's where he jumps on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the what was the other one I was thinking of? Yeah. Well, yeah, Jake just created a lot of different things, you know. I was trying to think of something, but I kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, you know,
the list goes on.
The list goes on and on. Though the things that so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians have created, right? But go ahead.
It says, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Right.
And the elder.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was going to speak about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when you do academic, but then when you go into physicality, the fastest man in the world is a Jake, right? The greatest baseball players are Jake, though they tried to. I believe they were saying that they was it Bo Jackson, one of them. They accused him of steroids or something like that, and they basically forced him to stop batting so he wouldn't beat Babe Ruth's average, right? Forgot who that was, but they didn't want the Jake to beat.
Was it Reggie Jackson? I think I remember that. Yeah,
I can't remember
Big
the brother,
fella.
but then to come to find out, guess what? Babe Ruth is an Israelite. He was a Gadite. See, and that's why we don't judge by the outward appearance, man. Yeah, you don't judge. Yeah, you thought he was just a, but he was an Israelite, bro.
Jake from State Farm.
Right. Yeah.
It says, and one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Yeah, and the elder shall serve the younger, right? And see, and that's from the script. That's from the beginning. So Esau saying all this madness, and this thing was from the beginning, man.
Yeah.
It was already set up in the heavens.
It was never his to begin with.
Right.
You know, it just had to play out the way the Most High wanted it to play out.
Right.
You know. It says, continuing on, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment.
Like a hairy garment, not as a hairy garment, but like, giving you similarities. There were garments that were dyed. You use a dye and you dye the garment. You dye it red from the different plants. You take flowers and different plants, and you take the red from it and you rub it into the garment, and it's a process. But then eventually that garment becomes red, and so they're using the similitude like a hairy garment, saying that it's like when you take an animal and you skin it, and that garment it's like a hairy animal. You take it and then you dye it, and a lot of times they would put it on their, make it as a, covers, or even put it on their tents, right?
Yeah, it's not saying that Esau was hairy.
Right.
It says, and they called his name Esau.
Esau, Joshua, right? Which means wasted away, right? So now they're giving you the understanding of thinking, well, this person name is a Joshua, so he's giving you the effects, the understanding. So his melanin is wasted away, but it said he was red all over. So whose melanin is not there, but then yet they're red? That would be the Edomite. That would be the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Because he used that in his court system once he got to America, because that's not in the old world. When you go back into the old world, and they were never called white.
No.
Never. It was in this world, the new world, so to speak, right?
Yep.
And they went into their system and deemed themselves white. Was it 1870 something?
It was 61.
1861, something like that. 18, something like that.
When they began to declare themselves.
Or 1760. Yeah,
as
17.
white.
Yeah, I think it was 1761. Something like that. They took them into their courts and said that they were white on stolen land. At that, you know. You know, that's crazy, right? To declare something on stolen property.
It says, I'm just reading, it says, the term white has been in use since the early 17th century.
Right, yeah, see 1700s, huh?
It says, before the 1600s, there's no evidence that the English referred to themselves as being white people. This concept did not occur until 1613.
Okay. Yeah, but it happened in the it happened earlier, but then it didn't really be declared more prevalent until like the 1700s, right? Where they could pass the laws where now you can't, when you go to court, whether you're so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you cannot bear witness or put an account or what do you call it? I
think I know what you're talking about, but it's not coming to me right now.
Basically,
you had no rights.
You had no right. You couldn't put a claim that they did anything to you. You know, like almost Yeah,
because that came with the death codes,
right,
which were black is a negative, and it basically, when they put black in front of anything, it means that you don't
exist.
count. You don't exist. You know what I mean? There's black
it's
laws.
commodity. Yeah.
You know.
But you could not say that they were criminals at any point. You could not be a witness against them, right?
Yeah.
Your opinion about them didn't count.
Right.
No matter if they did it right in front of your face, you know.
And the whole judicial system was set up accordingly so that you could never have justice here.
Right, cunt. So yeah.
Keep going on that.
Yeah.
Verse 26, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
Right. So his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Right. You go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 8.
Second Ezra 6 and verse 8, and it reads, and he said, now
right.
Start at 7, it says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?
Yeah, parting asunder, the reigning power, or the age, the rulership. What should be the end of this rulership, this age, this eon? What should be the end of this eon, age, this rulership? But
and it says, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?
Right. So when is Esau rule going to go down, and Jacob have his rule, right? And then that rule is going to immediately come through after, right?
Verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, When Jacob and Esau were born of him,
Right? We just read that. When Esau and Jacob was born, the Lord already said, the elder shall serve the younger. So, right?
Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
Yeah, so Jacob's hand held fast the heel of Esau. Fast meaning he didn't let go, right? He's not gonna let it go, right? And then and then we keep going.
For Esau is the end of the world.
See, Esau, he's ruling right now. So this is his time to rule, right? So while he's bitching and complaining, he got his shot, right? Technically, all the nations had their shot, right? That proves the mercy of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shai. Every nation had their opportunity to rule the world, but the Lord, the beauty of that is the Lord showing you without Him, it ain't gonna be ruled right. Even with Nebuchadnezzar, the Lord made his head be the gold, saying that was the best nation out of the heathens to run, to rule, stating him to be and it still wasn't good enough. Why? Because without Yahweh Basham Shai, you're gonna come up empty, right? And it's showing you that even in the time when Jake's ruled, right, a lot of them ruled without the Lord. Even when Solomon ruled at one point in time, he fell off from the Lord. What happened? Right? Without full connection to Yahweh Bashim Shai, it's just not gonna work right. And that's what the Lord has to show you. And that's what this all has to play out to. So then this time it's gonna be, the laws are gonna be written in our hearts and our minds, and Yahweh Shai is gonna be here. King David's gonna be our king, right? And there ain't gonna be any going off. And then now that you're fully connected to your power, now that's a everlasting kingdom, like it tells you in Daniel, forever and ever and ever, man. It's beautiful. Go ahead.
It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Yeah, because every other kingdom, their world came to an end, and you're no different, Esau, right?
Hey, and you're at your time limit too.
You can get that too if you want. It should be when it says you thought that you were not to drink of the cup. Yeah, you think that you're not to drink of the cup, man. Right? They have assuredly drunken it. Yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, it says the Israelites, we have surely drunken that cup. Should you altogether go unpunished? You mean? You know? Is there a possibility somehow every other nation ruled, and there were nations that were better than you? When you go into Daniel's 2, it show you that Nebuchadnezzar was the head of gold, then the Medo-Persians were the silver, you know, right around here, chest part, right? Then I believe was the brass was the Greek Empire, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the iron, which was the legs, which was the Roman Empire. But then you got the mire and the clay is the feet, which is this second leg of Rome, man. Right? Because in order for you to stand up, you need your toes. Right? To have perfect balance, you need your toes. So that's why this place it's in balance. It's gonna go down.
Oh yeah, it's way out of bounds.
Right? Because take off your toe, like you know, ask somebody who got a toe missing. The way it's different. The way you walk, the way you stand, everything's gonna be different.
Hell, even when your foot hurts.
Yeah, even when your foot hurts. Yeah. You need your foot.
Yeah.
You need your footing.
I've been wrestling with these little facts all week. It says, this is Jeremiah 49 and 12, and it reads, for thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup.
Right, and that's the Israelites, man. Our judgment was not to drink of the cup, but of course, you got to go all the way back to the time of Adam and Eve. They fell, right? And without the fall of Adam and Eve, there would be none of these things in the earth. We would have just continued to rule, right? Because that's what the Lord told Adam. He said, take this, subdue the earth, and multiply, right? And that would have been it. We would know nothing different, right?
Only righteousness.
Right. Only righteousness. We would know anything different, and you would know nothing about the Medo-Persian Empire and this empire and this other empire. It was for the fact of them sinning.
No flood.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the flood, Noah. You wouldn't know any of those things. But all those things had to come to pass in order for us to understand righteousness, right? Like the apostles talk about. We had to go through that to understand wickedness in order to be able to be righteous judges, so that you know that you understand both sides, right?
It says again, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have
Right.
assuredly drunken.
Yeah, so now we're balanced. That's a balance, because we wasn't supposed to drink of the cup, but to get judged and to get slavery and to get Jim Crowed and redlined and all sorts of crack infested, heroin, crack, AIDS, butt breaking, all these different things, agendas, even that you have now, because you're working on your Jade Helm agenda, your King Alfred plan agenda, right? Your Rex 84 agenda is what you're working on right now, right?
Fully intend to try to chip all
Michael C.
mainly to get into Jay.
Right. So, hey, we're gonna know both. Now we have a balance. So now when the Lord set us up, man, there ain't gonna be us trying to who's that one that tried to get the Edomites to convert? I forgot what Judite king.
Was it John Craner?
I think it was, I don't know, it was one of the Judite kings. He tried to, we know that this dude is the wicked, right? You can't get Esau to convert into something righteous. He would never be right? You know what I'm saying? Right? You know? This dude would never be right. He was set up to be the wicked, man. Yeah, I got one. Did you find it?
No, not yet.
Okay,
I think it was High Crane.
Okay, I got one real quick. Isaiah chapter 26.
You want me to finish the other one that I was reading?
Hold on, I just get this real quick. Because I thought you were trying to look for that thing, so I'm trying to give you some time.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah. Isaiah chapter 26 and 10 says, let me see, maybe if I can pull up a little bit more. It says, with my soul I have desired thee in the night. With my spirit within me I seek thee early. Okay, yeah, let's start with that. Isaiah chapter 26 verse 9 says, with my soul I have desired thee in the night, yea, with my spirit within me I will seek thee early. And when thy judgments are in the earth, right? And that's ultimately what's going to happen, man. The Most High's judgment is going to be coming forth through this earth, man. So should you, at any point in time, should you go unpunished, right? Those that were not to drink of that cup, which is slavery. They have drunken of it. Should you not go into slavery? And these are Israelites. These are who the Lord called beloved. The Lord calls them fervent lover, right? So his fervent lover went into slavery, but somehow the guy the Lord says that he has indignation forever ain't gonna go into slavery, right? That's insane, right? So when thy judgment are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness, right? Hey, and that's what's gonna happen, man. You're gonna learn righteousness when this comes. It says, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. See, and you had favor shown to you, right? You got the fatness of the earth by the sword, right? You have your magi's and your Chaldeans, your witchcraft on the left hand side, your stargazers, your monthly prognosticators, your false prophets. You know what I mean? It tells you in the scripture that you're wise as Daniel, or you think you're wiser than Daniel. And one scripture said he think he's wiser than Daniel.
Right.
Right.
Wise to do wicked.
Right. And you know. So you ain't gonna learn. It says, will he not learn righteousness? Right? Because you got the land of Israel, you got all these people, you have the Bible, you have the prophets out here on the highways and the byways, but not once did you finally go, you know what, hey, I need to just go ahead, you know what, everybody forgive me, let me restore everybody, right? And then when you restore it, it has to be double. Like, you're getting mad about reparations, but you know what reparations would truly be? It would be double. And that's what the Lord said we're going to give you. It's going to be double according to her works, man. Man? See?
I got it.
Okay. Oh, I'll finish this. It says, in the land of uprightness will he not deal, he will deal unjustly, right? And you're in rulership. And that's what you're doing. That's what this whole thing is about. You're dealing unjustly. We're subject to payments. You got in AIDS and cancers, and then you turn around and sell people the cure. You give them the disease, and then you sell them the cure. That is unjust, man.
Yeah, after you let thousands or hundreds of thousands of them die off, that's what they did with the what is it, syphilis, with the was that the Tuskegee experiment?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they did with the smallpox, with the Walketeers.
Yeah, with Gad,
gave
but
them the
guess who?
smallpox blanket.
But it wasn't just Gad there. When you pay attention to it, Judah was there too.
Yeah.
They gave Judah the smallpox too. The reason why they show you that when you go, well, it used to be there. They took it out. You go to New York, they had that thing with Roosevelt, which was supposed to be known as the Indian killer. Roosevelt, he's on the horse, and then he got Gad on one side and Judah on the other, man, which is the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom of the nation of Israel. The so-called Native American, which is Gad, and the so-called Negro, which is the tribe of Judah, on the other side.
So
right?
It was crazy the way they did with the statue, because when the apostles started to bring out that scripture,
that's when they removed it.
Yeah. I've seen servants on horseback and princes walking along the ground. That's when they took that statue down. Right. You know what I mean? Esau definitely, he's keeping a close watch on what's going on. And he figures if he keeps it hush hush, you know what I mean, it won't happen. But like
because that's what that whole thing was during the CV-19 and then the so-called Black Lives Matter thing. Remember when they were so-called desecrating the statues? Really, it was for them to remove that. They had a whole another agenda behind it, so they could remove that one statue, right? And that way they didn't have a bunch of
and they removed them.
They didn't have a bunch of
Guidestones
pushback
too.
behind it. Yeah. Well, they blew them up.
Yeah.
They blew them up, and then they tried to make it seem like it was thunder or lightning, or maybe it was a terrorist attack. So it's always a T attack. Yeah.
Something with
It's always just to leave it mysterious. Now
Right.
we don't know who. We don't know if it was thunder, lightning. We
Right,
don't know if it was
right.
a T attack. We don't know what it was that actually did it.
Try
right?
to make everything a mystery.
Mystery, yeah, that's his thing. Yeah, but it says and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh, man. Right? Which is the law, statutes, and commandments. You're not gonna uphold the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? So go ahead.
All right, yeah, this is Oxford reference, conversion force. Question is asked, what was the forced conversion of the Edomites? And it reads, the forced conversion of the Idumeans, Edomites, to Judaism by John Hyrcanus,
Right, yeah,
135 to 105
John Hyrcanus,
BCE.
yeah, that's
that's
what
what I thought it was, but just to make sure, is the only such recorded case of forced conversion to Judaism. On the other hand, Jews have
And there's
been
no such
the
thing as
victim.
Judaism. That's made
Right.
up. Yeah, to be force them to follow the law, statutes, commandments under Israelite understanding. What do you call our culture, really?
Right.
Because it's not a religion. It's our culture.
You know.
That's why when it comes to the so-called you wish, that's why they play with it. They play with it back and forth, like we were just saying, to leave doubt and confusion. Because one moment they'll go, "You can't talk to me like that. That's my religion." The next, they'll come up. Well, wait a minute. You said that's your nationality. Well, you can't talk to me. That's my nationality. Oh wait, you're Semite, right? They'll throw out all these different things. So wait a minute. And I've seen interviews where people will speak to the people. Well, I don't know. Is this your religion, or is this your nationality? And then they go, some people, they don't even know themselves,
It's both,
right?
really.
Or they'll say both.
Yeah.
Some of them will say both, but some of them will not say it. They'll stick to one or the other. No, it's my religion, or no, this is my nationality. But it's to leave doubt within people, and then if someone comes against them, somebody be known as an anti-Sem, and then you're afraid to mention, wait a minute, well, how can it be this and it be this? Right? Well, this thing is our nationality, not a religion.
And that thing goes miles with that anti-Sem, because that's just another way they use to muddy the water. Because
To leave confusion.
and it shows
Doubt.
so many people don't know what's being said, because whenever they call the so-called Arabs or Ishmaelites anti-Sem, how can he be anti what he is? He come out of Abraham. You know what I mean? Anyone that comes out of Abraham, and then even more than that, anybody that came from Lot, and there's more. There's a Shemite.
Yeah.
But people are so confused and discombobulated and so willing to push the agenda of these devils, they don't know. Like,
Well, that's
you
the
yourself are a
miseducation.
Shemite. How can you be anti yourself?
Well, Sem means nothing.
Sim
Means nothing, but
simpleton.
yeah.
That's what I call it. I mean,
Right.
just a
Shum,
word they use.
the Shumites, there are many Shumites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was it on that. You want me to go back?
Oh,
to,
that was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah. So I never finished
yeah, because that was John Crane. Yeah, you can finish that.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, go on.
Says, and art thou he that shall go altogether unpunished?
Yeah, right. Are you gonna go unpunished? God forbid.
Thou shalt not go unpunished.
Yeah, you're not gonna go unpunished, man.
But thou shalt surely drink of it.
Yeah, you're gonna get slavery, man. It's not. There's no way around it.
Only thing you ain't gonna get out of us is the buck breaking and the wife taking. You know what I mean? Those things that are considered sins.
Well, those are
you're not
things
gonna
unto
get
death.
but-
Those
yeah.
are not just sin. Those are sins unto death.
Right.
So
Everything
why
else.
would you? Yeah. How would we do that? And
everything.
that's what I'm saying. That in itself will put a. Well, it says there's two manner of people.
Yeah.
Just in that, in our rulership, there's going to be two manner of way someone should rule, and then the whole world. They should be helping us try to rule, but instead they see our dead bodies in the streets, and would not suffer us to be put in graves.
That's because the whole world joined forces with Esau to take us out.
Yeah, but even
They made that tumult, but now
Esau's the only one that ain't gonna receive mercy.
Right.
So there's all these other nations. You're gonna receive your mercy. You're gonna be happy with us ruling, man. You're gonna be happy. But
Esau is that abominable branch.
right.
So let's see. When we go back to Genesis, that was it in
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, come go
It
ahead.
says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
Right.
Yaiqua.
Yeah, and that's symbolizing taking them out of power. Right? Taking them from their rulership, their reign. They're gonna fall. They're gonna get tripped up. They're gonna get tripped up and fall out of rulership, man. That's what that is. Go ahead.
And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
Right. And that's his characteristics, his traits, even to this very day.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Rub piss all over himself and go stand in urine and dung just to try to trap some poor animal. You know, and not for food, but just for trophy's sake. You know, he loves killing. Whatever it is, Esau has to kill it. You know, nothing can go by him. Bugs he's got to kill and put a pin through them and name them. You know, everything he comes across. You know, that's all he knows. It says that Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loves Jacob.
Yeah. But Rebekah loved Jacob. Oh yeah, hold on that, and then go to Revelations 20. Start at the 1. Start at 1. Revelation 20. Start at 1.
Start at 1.
Yeah, start at 1. Yeah, Revelation 20.
This is Revelations 20 and verse 1, and it reads, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit,
Right.
and a great chain in his hand.
Right, that chain is symbolizing what Esau happened to be put into the Caucasus Mountains for a time. We understand that he was from Mount Seir, but this is a time of his punishment. This is a time that the Lord said, going back into Genesis, that he should be upon his belly. Right. Matter of fact, let's get there because yeah. 4. This is 4. No, it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. I remember. It's 3. Genesis 3. Yeah. It says Genesis 3 and 14 says, and the Lord, power, Yahweh Bashem Shai, power, said unto the serpent, because thus has done this, thus thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. And that's talking about nations, see? And that's why one of the reasons why, it's because even right here he said he was going to be cursed above all the other beasts. And those beasts meaning nations. When you go into Daniel's 2, right? He mentioned the 4 beast systems that were going to rule. Those systems were different nations, right? So that let you know that. And then I believe there's another scripture that tells you that all men are beasts, right? So these are dealing with nations, right? So it's saying he's going to be cursed above all the other nations. And that in itself is talking about Esau going all the way back, because he was the serpent that was in the garden, right? That spirit. It was a man, not an actual serpent, right? And it says, above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thus go, and thus shalt thus eat. Thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life, right? Dust meaning confusion, right? So this is going to be the time that the Lord shut them up into the Caucasus Mountains with confusion, right? And the proof to that of the confusion or the dumbing down is this is at the time they were just ruling as the Romans, and when Pontius Pilate put on Yahushai's cross, he put it in 3 different languages. He put it in Latin and in Greek and in Hebrew. Yahushai of Nazareth, king of Judea, right? In 3 different languages. Now you fast forward to this time where they're about to get shut up. It tells you they were grunting. Matter of fact, we can get that. They were grunting.
You get it?
Yeah, if you want to. They were grunting as asses and eating mallows by the bushes, right? For their meat, which is good, which was good for them, right? Because when you go into the mallows, it sustains your system. Is actually good for you, right? It was just enough nourishment to sustain them, you know, just so the Lord can preserve them for this very time right now, so they can go into slavery, right? Because that's why the Lord said that. So should you go altogether unpunished? I think it's 30.
Job 30, and I'm just looking to see where I want to.
Why don't you just start at 1?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of. This is Job 30 and 1, and it reads, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision."
Right, they're despised, but also I believe. Let me see. Job 30 and 1, is it?
Yeah. Blue.
Yeah. 30.
Get that younger as well, so people.
That's what I'm getting.
understand.
That's what I'm getting. That's
right.
what
Yeah, because you know, it's like, how you be younger because he was born. But there's a meaning.
Since men.
Strong's age 4480.
Men.
Men.
It says men from
Second entry.
men.
Third entry. May.
Men.
Fourth entry.
Oh damn. Men. Okay. Men.
Joe
Right.
wasn't messing around.
Right. Yeah. It says from, out, and on account of, off, on the side of, since, above, then, so that, not, more than, expressly, so we can get some that's more. Let's see, we go to the root. String.
String of harp.
Yeah, not really saying nothing much. Such made younger. Whether, I don't know. They didn't really show nothing.
Let me see. I'll look
But either way it goes, it's like despise, you know what I mean? Also, it just means younger too. Like, you know, when you think about a person who does stupid things like children, like a child, you know. He's childlike in his mind, his thing, you know. You know. Look at the decisions that they make. I mean, you poison the same air you breathe. You want to manipulate and give AIDS and diseases and all sorts of things to people, where at some point in time someone can end up having sex with your daughter and give your kids these diseases, right? We know you try to have the racial hate and the things, so you figure if we just give it to them and have the white people hate them so much and not like them, none of our kids will ever want to be with them. But we know at the time of even slavery, to the threat of slavery, white women were saying, I still want to be with them. If you be with this this so-called nigger, you be with this nigger, I'm gonna put you in slavery too. She's like, okay, well, give me the bag, I'll pick cotton too. She's all too ready to still be with Jake. So it proves you poison the water, the air, the food, things like that. You're all too willing to even destroy your own people, right? And if you're a king needs subjects. Why would you just destroy the whole entire everything? You know what I'm saying? That ain't no fun to rule over nothing. Your thing is you want to bring in AI. That's not fun. How do I rule over AI and have fun ruling over AI? I mean,
right.
I mean, these are the things that you do, and thinking you're too smart for the thing. But guess what? You're gonna go into slavery, man. You're not gonna avoid it, man. You know what I mean? You too shall drink of that cup, man. Like, you don't see nothing, huh? Yeah, don't really say nothing, but I know it just. Definition of younger in the Bible. Yeah, we know that. But yeah, you know, well, let's just go ahead and read it.
Yeah, they're not really giving us a lot, but we understand it's not regarding younger. Their minds. It's more the mindset of Esau, Edom.
Yeah, it's the mindset, and they're insignificant too. They're the ones that everybody's gonna be they're gonna look down upon.
Right? Is this the man?
Right. Everybody looks down on them. Right? Because actually it goes into that. When you keep reading, it says that they were the ones that were chased into the mountain as a thief, man. People despised them. So that's kind of where that younger means too. It means to be despised. Right?
It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dog of my flock.
Right.
Because they would the same thing they do now.
That disdain means to be despised, right?
Yeah, because they'll violate your animal. You know what I mean? Then you got to put the animal down. You got to put Esau down. Everything got to be put down that he's around, because and we see it in the world right now today. You know what I mean?
Right.
They doing acts with animals.
Right.
The man and the woman.
Which does say he's the son of perdition, man. Anything he touched has to be destroyed everywhere he's at, which is understandable that the Lord is going to come and throw this down with an overthrow in such a fashion that it's never been seen before.
Because this has been one of his best wicked enterprises. That's why it has to be destroyed in the manner it has to be destroyed in. It says, continuing on, yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine They were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness,
Right.
in former times desolate and waste,
Uh-huh.
who cut up marrows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meats.
Right, yeah. See?
They were driven forth from among men.
Right here it is.
They cried after them
Right.
as after a thief.
Thief, right. And that's the same thing that's actually happening right now. Because they're being despised, and the world is starting to see, wait a minute, these so-called you-wish are the problem. They're the problem of the earth. They're the thieves.
And
They're the ones who put everybody in
jeopardy.
some type of financial strain, right? You're the one that's going around the world, and you could kill like you're the one to have a license
impunity.
to kill.
Yeah,
With
they
impunity,
kill with impunity.
right? And no one can do anything to you. You come in there and bomb down somebody's city, bomb down their what do you say, civilian structures, civilian structures, even what they're doing in Iran.
Yeah, they not
Right? They
going
said they
after,
just hit a
military
civilian
targets.
thing, but then Iran struck them. It was like, oh my God, can you believe they hit a civilian? So now the big deal is about Iran hitting one of your civilian structures, and it wasn't a big hoblob of anything about how you hit theirs.
No.
It was just we didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Let's just
Everybody's
put that
quiet
push
when it
that
comes
away.
to what
Yeah,
they're
let's-
doing.
Let's
You
not
know what I
even
mean?
not even mention that. That's not a big deal. We have the right to defend ourselves, but then they do. Oh my God, they're not righteous people, and they're despicable people because, you know. I'll take it.
They were driven from among men. They cried after them as after a thief.
Right, and that's them people, man, and that's what the whole world is doing. And see, that's why you're not gonna escape, man. You're not gonna be able to, make it out of here without getting that cup.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It says to dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men.
Right, yeah.
They were viler than the earth.
Right, yeah.
Hey, and then there's a scripture where the Most High says, he chose the basest of men to rule over, and that's where we're at right now.
Well, that's all the nations, because
Yeah.
you let all the nations rule. But now you're at there's a
real
twofold.
base, man.
You're at the real base because we're at the toes.
Yeah.
They're at the toes of the stack. That's the base of it. Yeah. Right. This is Obadiah chapter 1 verse 2 says, "Behold, I have made thee small," right? And that's another thing of being younger. A younger person is what? Smaller. But this is meaning more of despised, right? "I have made thee small amongst the heathen, thou art despised.
Greatly despised.
Thou art greatly despised." And that's these Edomites, man. Right? "The pride of thy heart, La'ab, your mind, have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the cliff of the rock," right? Going into where the brother just said. We're getting pushed into the Caucasus Mountains at that time, right? Eating the mallows and the bushes and grunting and all these different things. The original caveman, right? "Cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, and saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" Well, the Lord said you're viler than the earth. So yeah, you're gonna go down to the ground. You can go back to that I believe that Revelation. 20. Oh yeah, look at
Said Revelations 30 and
that. Revelation 20 and 1.
Revelations 20 and 1, and it reads, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand."
Right.
And And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil,
Right, devil.
and Satan.
So go back, say it again.
And he laid hold on the dragon,
Which is the Roman Empire,
that old serpent.
the old serpent. Going back to, we just went to Genesis, speaking to you about that spirit that's in Genesis of the serpent, right? That was gonna have to lay upon his belly and eat all the dust, right? The confusion, right? And that's where he went to in the Caucasus Mountains, right? And that's that old serpent, right? And this is the promise that the Lord said was going to happen to him. So now that was in Genesis, and now here we are in the time of the fall of Rome, right? Going into the Byzantine Empire. I forgot when the time of the
Dark
fall of Rome.
Ages. So,
The time of the Western Rome fall. Yeah, 476 AD, right? So about 476 AD, this is the time, around that time, they're getting pushed into the Caucasus mountains, right? And they were there for a thousand years, which is going to go into that, right?
keep going.
But yeah,
And laid hold on the dragon,
right.
that serpent, which is the
Right.
devil, and Satan.
The dragon, which is the Roman Empire, the old serpent, which is that same spirit that was in the garden that deceived Eve, and then it says what?
And bound
The
him.
devil. Wait, it said the devil, serpent, the dragon,
That old
serpent.
And laid hold on the dragon, that
Dragon,
old serpent, which is the devil.
which is the devil, which is the false accuser, right? Which dealing with this Roman Greco Empire that you're dealing in now, NATO, EU, and America, right? Which is the 10 toes, right?
and Satan,
And Satan,
and bound him 1,000 years.
right? Satan meaning your adversary, right? And bound him 1,000 years. Esau, Edom is your adversary. He's your enemy all the way from the womb. From the beginning of the womb, they were struggling. They should struggle together, and going to struggle means to oppress. So when Jacob's ruling, he oppresses Esau, put him in slavery. And when Esau's ruling, he damn sure finna come put you in slavery, right? But this is the last time of his rule, right? But
And bound him 1,000 years.
yep,
And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
right.
You know, and that's one of his strongest attributes, his ability to lie and deceive.
Right.
We're seeing that now since he's been loose.
Right, and that's the point I was proving when it says that he would deceive the nations no more. That's the part where he put the dust upon them, the confusion. That's where they were grunting, because now you can't communicate with anybody, you can't deceive anyone, right? Because it tells you that he's the father of lies, right? That dude, he'll lie his ass off to you.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Man.
So he can't deceive the nations, being able to, and then they pushed him off into the mountains.
With a straight face too, he'll lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're seeing an illustration of that right now.
Right.
What was Trump doing with the Iranians? He was declaring, you know what I mean,
A peace
agreement,
yeah.
and declaring that he was actually trying to work with them. And that's why, again, though he go crouching, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
that's take good heed.
Yeah.
Because if the Iranians would have took good heed, they would have recognized that this devil was up to no good.
Right.
You know what I mean? It says,
Go, I
and
think you're good on that. Was it?
I just finished verse 3.
Was it?
So the
Was it?
1,000 years should be fulfilled, and that he should
Okay,
be
I'm
loosed.
right.
Yeah.
Today he may deceive. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Now go. Wait. Where you at?
I'm on 3. And cast him into the bottom and shut him up. And
Yeah,
set
yeah,
a
that's
seal
good.
upon him.
Yeah, that's good. Now go to Genesis 27. Right, and then we're gonna go back to that.
And what?
What was it? Is it 30? Let's see.
as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob.
Right. Yeah, that's when Esau comes in. Yeah, that's it.
This is Genesis 27:30, and it reads, and it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob.
Right, yeah, see, and that's the blessing. See, it was always going to come to Jacob anyway, right?
And this shows you how close it was, man. And Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac.
And tells you that the righteous shall scarcely be saved, man.
That had to be like, just as he's clearing the room, Esau's coming in the room. You know what I mean? Like,
very, very close.
Just missing him. Like
missing.
He just bent the corner. It was like, you know.
Right.
You could probably still smell him in the room. Like, you know.
No, but he was wearing Jacob. He was wearing Esau's thing, so he smelled like him.
Yeah. Like, was I just here?
Yeah.
It says, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting.
Right, yeah. We read that. He was a man of the field, right?
And he also had made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me.
This part I love right here. I like this.
And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly.
Yeah, he was mad, he was pissed.
And said, where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him.
Hey, beautiful thing. Hey, he was already full, so he didn't need your venison, Esau. He's already, I already ate, I'm full.
Yea, and he shall be blessed.
Yeah, it's already done. It's a done data.
Done, boy.
Done data. Yeah.
No turning back at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, keep going.
And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry.
Right.
And said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away.
But the only reason why he even had to come with subtlety, because when your father came to you and said, hey, go grab your bow, go grab your weapons, and go hunt me a venison and make me some venison, and I'll bless you. Right there, you should have said, no, Dad, don't do that. I already sold the blessing to Jacob. That's what you should have did. A man of integrity, a man that had things. But no, you couldn't say that. You couldn't do that. That birthright belonged to Jacob anyway. You sold it. You gave it away for lentil soup, right?
Yeah, and that's why he said, "Has not he done this twice?"
Right. Yeah.
I can't.
Well, it's gonna come. It's
I'll
coming.
get to it. Yeah.
It's coming. It's right after that.
And he said, "Is not okay." Subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. Right. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob?
Yeah. And he's gonna give you the definition of Jacob. Definition of Yaquab, right? Right.
For he hath supplanted me.
Hey, that's his name.
2 times.
I mean, are you surprised? His name is Yaquab. His name is supplanter. Are you surprised you got supplanted? You shouldn't be surprised.
The birthright was the blessing, but he gonna act like they were 2 separate things.
Right. He making like it's 2 separate things, and he acting like he didn't sell it.
Right.
Now he whining and crying. Wait a minute, this guy he did this to me, right?
It says, he took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away from me my blessing. The blessing was the birthright, which you didn't think had any value.
Importance, yeah.
And he said, hast not thou reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord.
Ooh, there it is. That's it. That's my favorite part. But now, at the end of the day, the whole point is you're out of compliance, man. The Israelites, Jacob is your Lord, right? We were just talking about that. Yeah, it says Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. and I have seen servants upon horses, right? And that's Esau. Esau, you're in the power seat right now, right? You're ruling. And princes, right, which are the Israelites, like we talked to you about that statue of Roosevelt. He had a Native American on one side, which represents the Northern Kingdom, and a Judite on the other side, which represents the Southern Kingdom, which are Israelites, which are princes. And the princes, right, which is Yasha Allah, he prince of God, or he prince of the power, walking as servants upon the earth, right? So that's the thing that's been going on, man. Right now, you had your time, but guess what? You're out of order. That thing is out of order. Jacob is your Lord. Go ahead.
And all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?
Right. What can I do for you? What can I give you now? Like, it's already done. Well, okay. Go ahead.
And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father.
Yeah, because if you read that, it said that all the nations are Jacob's servants. Servants meaning slaves. So all of them are slaves. So this now look what Isaac, which is Yahushai, tell him.
It says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
The whole earth. It's just where you at right now.
Fatness, the choice parts.
Choice, everything, right?
And of the dew of heaven from above. You
Yep.
know, all of those things that come along with that. You know. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother.
Yep. And shall serve thy brother, which is slavery.
Yep.
Right?
Don't do what he tell you to do.
So when you're ruling, this is when you get the fatness of the earth. Guess where Jake is going to be at? In slavery. Wow. But why, when Jake is ruling, which we basically spoke about that in the time of the Byzantine Empire, time of the Dark Ages, what they call the Dark Ages, which that 1,000 years is when Jake ruled. You were in slavery. Well, some of you were in the Caucasus Mountain, and the ones that were out, they were in slavery. Right? Keep going.
It says, and thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass.
And that goes back into the struggle. Struggle in the womb, it said what? To oppress. So if you're struggling, I'm oppressing you, then you fighting back, you're oppressing me, and that's the battle of the war of the world right now. That's why people don't understand the spiritualness of what's going on in the world. It's a battle, it's a struggle between the two major players in the Bible, Jacob and Esau. Right?
It says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
And then we went into the time that he had the dominion. Keep going.
And Esau hated Jacob.
Oh wait, no, you good at that. Now you just go to because he's gonna break the yoke off the neck of Jacob. To go back to Revelations 20, and then skip down to I don't know if it's 7 or let me see. Revelation.
1,000 years were expired.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was during the Byzantine
Empire, right?
Period,
yeah. But that's when they expired. That's when the time after the 1,000 years they came out of the Caucasus Mountain during the time of the 11th, 12th, 13th century. By the 14th century, they had a lot of strongholds, but Jake was still ruling somewhat in there. The 15th century, even the 16th century, Jake was still kind of ruling in certain places, but Esau had pretty much took over a lot of of Europe already, right?
It says, and when 1,000 years were, it's Revelations 20 and 7, and it reads, and when
because that's when they said, what you call them? When the 1492? He said, that's when they took a big chunk of the whole. There were some Jakes that were still ruling, but Esau took a good portion of that. So by the 1400s,
it fully set itself
in there. Yeah.
It says, And when 1,000 years were expired, Satan shall be loosened
Right.
out of his prison,
Right.
and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth.
Yeah, and that was that time, 1492, in order for the four corners of the earth to be sealed, and so that prophecy be fulfilled, they had to be over here in what they call Arzareth, or what you call America now, which is also spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt, and also known as the daughter of Babylon. Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon the Great.
Yeah.
Right?
It says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
Four quarters. Without America, there's no four corners of the earth. So we're here. We're at the last point of the earth, right?
Gog and Magog.
Gog
of Magog.
Right. Which proved this has to happen. This part of the world has to be inhabited by the Edomites, right? By that Roman power, by the NATO, EU, and Roman Empire, right? Because was America is a stem off from Britain, from the British,
right.
which they're still pretty much British, because
the eighth, which comes from the seventh.
Yeah, the eighth, which come from the seven, yeah, and they're still part of the Brits, really, because even your what's his name, Elder Malcolm went in that the law for them to pass the bar. The bar association means the British Association Registry or something like that. So you have to register under the bar. You have to pass the bar exam, which actually goes back to Britain. So even though you're in America, you have to pass the bar exam, which goes back to the British Association of Registry, right?
And I think they're still paying a fine or something for that whole insurrection that they started. Where they still have to pay same way. What is it? The Jamaicans
Oh,
are still paying.
You talking about Levi?
Yeah, but I think
Levi
America's
paying
still
towards
paying England too.
Yeah, you talking about Levi? How they have to still pay to the French?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Haitians.
But we're subjugated to England still as well, like you said. But continuing, it says, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
Right. And that's going into World War III. All the nations are going to gather, and you're going to gather into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat to be destroyed, man. Right? That's the thing that's going to happen, man.
And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city. Right,
and that's us. We were all around the world, but that main beloved city is what? That's Jerusalem. And we have you small hats in Jerusalem right now. Right? You're in there.
Trodden down by the Gentiles.
And it's trodden down by the Gentiles, man.
And about the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone.
Right, and that's proven that this place, America, Babylon the Great, has to be destroyed. But the lake of fire and the fire of brimstone is them being destroyed in the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat. Matter of fact, because Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is going to destroy you there, right? Because there's going to be nothing but left dust and smell of smoke, right? And it says, try to get to the point. It's kind of hard to, but no, I'm just trying to get to the point, but it's just trying to make it the point. It says, well, I guess I'll start here. It says, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had given himself a great mountain and flew upon it, right? Which that's Yahweh Shai, which that fathership, right? What they call UFOs or UAPs. Yahweh Shai is coming back in that, right? The same ship that the disciples, which became apostles, had seen him leave away in it. And the angels that stood next to him in white said, why look the guy up in heaven? That same Yahweh Shai should return in like manner, right? He's going to return in like manner, right? You can go to Revelations 1 and 7. 1 and 7 also shows you that he's going to return like that. In the clouds, it says, right? It says, and I
like manner is a chariot, basically.
Well, it said the clouds. Clouds is a chariot. Cloud.
But the chariot that he returns in is
going to be that mountain.
Way grander.
Yeah, it's going to be that mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flying mountain. That's what I said. The flying fountain. Yes, and yes, but I beheld, and lo, he had given himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was driven, and I could not. So this is so big, it's going to be from one end and you're not going to be able to know where it ends or where it begins, pretty much, right? And after this I beheld, and lo, which means to look, they which were gathered together, which that's what the brother was just reading, all that innumerable multitude, them all gathered together. You just reading that great multitude, to subdue him, and were sore afraid, and yet there's fight, right? So that's Esau, your military, your AIs, all your madness that you got, your tanks, your stealths, your whatever you got, your laser weapons, right? Because it just said that Canada just exposed that they have a laser weapon now. So they're getting ready for that time. So we're coming in those times. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand or held sword, neither any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, which is talking about out of the chariot, right? Which Independence Day is a real good illustration of that, because that chariot was above the White House and above that building in LA, and the mouth opened up, right? And as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And that was a great illustration of that. That's where they got it from the scriptures, right? And they were all mingled together, the blast of fire and flaming breath and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. Right? Huh? So that's the time that you're coming in, man. Right? But all this has to be fulfilled. So you got the fatness of the earth by the sword and did all these different things. And that proves it, man. You got pushed into the Caucasus Mountains. You got shut up for a while. You that was the 1,000 years to prove that you came out and you started deceiving the world all over again. Now all of a sudden you're the Israeli.
Yeah.
You're the English,
right,
and the British, right, and the Dutchess, Irish, yeah, right. Come on now.
You know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're the natives.
Yeah, now you're the natives.
You're everything but who you are.
Huh?
It says, let's see, were you back in Revelations?
Yeah. Wherever you was at, I think you were finishing up that battle, the blast, and I was just.
Okay. It says, and Revelations 20 and
No, I think you passed that.
9.
Did you say the lake of fire already? I think you already went.
Yeah, I read 8.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, Revelations 20 and 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about.
That's the innumerable multitude. It's going to get destroyed. Go ahead.
And the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them.
Yeah, I just read it. That's it.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of
fire,
fire
right, yeah,
and brimstone.
Right, because that's them being destroyed over there in the Third World War, but then the missiles and everything are going to be shot here in Babylon the Great and be destroyed, turned into the lake of fire. But
where the beast and the false prophet are, and
right,
they shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Right, and that system is connected to that, back to the false prophet being the Roman Catholic Church, right? And then NATO, EU, and all these other different things, and then the whole thing, the beast system, NATO, EU, all those things, your whole system's gonna crash down, right? Even though they're gonna shoot missiles, even though the European nations, those are your allies, gonna shoot missiles, it ain't gonna stop them from not being destroyed. That their whole thing is gonna go down, right? They're gonna do that to try to save face, but it's gonna be too late. Your whole system's gonna crush down because everything is too intertwined into this American system, into the American dollar being the world reserve currency. It's too intertwined, and they showed you that when what was it in 08? What was it, Enron?
Yeah.
The Enron thing happened, and it showed how all the housing development was all interconnected because their housing market went down, because this house market went down, and then the whole housing market was connected to people. I was thinking, I thought when I first heard, I thought that was weird.
Yeah,
I said,
Enron
how
was
are
the oil company.
Huh?
Enron was the oil company, right? Or
No. They were the investment. They were. I think they were. I believe they were. They were like a stock company. People were putting their stocks and bonds in there. That's the thing that dude. Forgot his name. They so-called arrested him.
Yeah, they had a bunch of crap, but Enron Corporation was an American energy, commodities, and service company based in Houston, Texas. Yeah, they were an energy company.
Yeah, energy.
But they had their
Stock
fingers in so many different things.
Yeah.
When they went down, they took so many different companies.
Right,
with
yeah,
them.
so interconnected, yeah.
Yeah.
Because was they part of the housing market too? Because I know that was a big thing. Because I was tripping out how the housing market was all interconnected. Because the housing market in America was, but they were talking about way in Germany and all these other places that the housing market was jacked up.
Yeah, I think they just basically held such high amounts of stocks and things in those other companies. When they collapsed, everything that they had possession of collapsed.
Who was the guy that I forgot his name. The guy that, can you look at that? The guy who stole the money. What was his name?
From Enron?
Yeah, from the.
Or the dude that the small hat that was. I think I know who you're talking about. They put him in prison for a shit ton of years.
Yeah, but he was the one who was supposed to have been the result of that.
The end result of that happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the cause for that to happen. I know who it is. I can't think of it right now. Let's see what exactly happened.
But yeah,
Enron.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, that dude, I forgot his name, and they had him on the news too. People were crowding around. They were trying to beat his ass, man. People were trying to get him, and then people whole life savings, their whole because people had their whole retirement savings in that when it crashed in 2008.
Bernie
Sanders, Bernie Sanders.
No, Bernie Sanders is the guy.
No, not Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff. Yeah, there you
Bernie
go.
Madoff.
There you go. There it is.
Made off with all them people's money.
Yeah.
Good gracious, man.
Oh yeah, there it is.
That's this thing on Madoff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's a bird. Leon. was an American finance criminal. Financier.
Financier.
Yeah, that's
It says
financier.
Bernard Lawrence Madoff was an American financial criminal and financier who was the admitted mastermind of the largest known Ponzi scheme in history,
Right,
worth
there it
an
is.
estimated $65 billion. He was at one time chairman of the NASDAQ Stock Exchange.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see.
Yeah. You know.
And I know that. I know that thing. Everybody kept talking about the Enron around that time too. So I thought he had something to do with the Enron too. But it must have been all that was all interconnected. But the point was, all these things are so intertwined with America. Once America falls, everything is gonna. Because guess what? China still has the bulk of America's debt.
Yeah.
So do Japan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So with all these people having this ties to American debt, you're all intertwined, right? You know, so it's done. It's finished. Go ahead.
What do you want?
What was
Back in Revelations?
No, I think we're done with that, didn't we? Yeah, that was pretty much done. I think.
Yeah. And they went in the breath of the earth and devoured them.
Yeah, that was it. We go back to
What?
I think it's Genesis 27, right? Because we're going. Yeah, we're going to
His father
Esau.
answered him and said, "Thy dwelling shall be the
Fatness of the earth.
and by thy sword,
Sword,
thou shalt
you
live,
live. Right,
and
yeah,
shalt
see.
serve thy brother."
Yeah. Start.
All right, this is Genesis 27 and 40. We'll start at 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth,
Yeah, see, now you're ruling. You got the fatness of the earth.
and of the dew of heaven from
Yeah.
above.
Uh-huh.
And by thy sword shalt thou live,
Uh-huh.
and shalt serve thy brother.
Right.
And it shall come to pass when
Yeah.
thou shalt have
See,
the
that's that part of
dominion.
that's the part I was talking about. That's part of that struggle when we read that they struggled together in her womb, in Rebecca's womb. Struggle is putting oppression. So Jacob had you in oppression, but when you rule, you're gonna break the yoke of iron off thy neck after serving your brother. Like, you know,
And thou shalt break his yoke from
Uh-huh.
off thy neck.
you're gonna break the yoke up off your neck, and then you're gonna start ruling, right? And that goes into that time of what we were talking about during the time of basically really before that. You know what I mean? But the 1400s was the time you had pretty much a good stronghold over the thing, and then he came over to America, and then that solidified everything. Now you got the fatness of the whole world, right?
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Yeah. And that's the thing he wanted to do. Because it talks about him deceiving the nations. You can go to 2 Corinthians 11 and 4. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai. Hey, it's 444 right now. It's mercy, man. So,
You said 2 Corinthians?
yeah, 2 Corinthians 11 and 14.
This is 2 Corinthians 11 and 14, and it reads,
Going into him but deceiving the world. Because it said he had to come back out and deceive the world, right? But
what does it start up by? It says, and no marvel.
you can, if you find something, if you want to, if you feel it's like,
Yeah, I just started at 14.
okay.
And it reads, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Right. And if, matter of fact, I looked up that word marvel earlier. Okay, let me go back to it if I can find it. Because I was doing my lesson earlier, and then I looked up that marvel, and 13.
Strong's G 2298. Thamastas. Thamastas.
Thamastas, right? And then look what Thamastas means. You know, of course, wonderful, wonderful, marvelous, worthy, pious.
Pious.
Yep, pious, right? To admire, right? Admirable, right? But watch this. When you go down here, this is to join with terror, right? So that's the marvel that he did, right? Because he got the fatness of the earth by the sword. And it says, don't marvel that Satan transformed himself into an angel of light. And it says, join with terror. What was he doing? He was killing people, murder, terrorizing them, saying, worship Cesare Borgia, worship this new
Image.
the new Messiah, right? What you call them Christ, you call them Jesus, right? As the scripture says, there's only one Hamashiach, right? There's only one a Messiah, right? There's only one Messiah. But watch out for someone who would teach a different Messiah, and that's what they did. And they did it under joining it with terror. And that's the marvel, right? That's the marvel. They marveled it with terror, right? With the sword.
Yeah, it's often said they bought Christianity with the tip of a sword. That's how they brought Christianity to the world.
Right.
You know? You either went with it or you died.
Right. So I thought that was okay. You can keep going on that. Yeah. So I just thought that was pretty interesting when he said marvel, because it's don't marvel, and then when you look at the don't marvel, you put that in there. Put joint with terror.
Yeah. It says, and no marvel, joint with terror, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Yeah, see, and don't marvel, joint with terror, Satan himself transformed himself to an angel of light, and that's ultimately what happened, man. Joint with terror, right? The marveling, and now you got people marveled after him after that. You dropped the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which is the sword, which is terror. You brought terror to them people,
Made
and
fire come down from heaven,
right?
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, that was like a marvel.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
And who even said who can make war with them?
Right.
They were marveling.
Yeah.
Right?
And even now, I mean, our military is
Pretty
far
top-notch,
exceeds
yes.
all other militaries on the planet
world.
Earth.
Right.
That's why even nations joining together still have their doubts about whether or not they can deal with America.
Right.
You know, because America's military might is well renowned.
Yeah.
But the scriptures tell
Yeah.
you
Even
that
one brother said that. One of the elders from Dallas said that. He said on a one-on-one fight, America would fuck Russia up. On a one-on-one fight, he said America would tear them up. But for their benefit, the Lord set it up to where all these nations are going to come against America, because that's what it's going to take. Right? You know?
Yeah, that's why no one opposes this place.
Because when you got a bully, it's better for, hey, what Smokey said, man, let's just jump him. Let's jump Debo. You know what I mean? Hey, what is he going to do if everybody jumped him? Right? And that's what's going to happen. The Lord said, spare no arrows. Everyone that could bend the bow, shoot at her. Right?
Yeah,
They're going to jump you.
America is the modern day Alexander, where the whole world was quiet in front of him. Nobody wants to do shit. Nobody has an opinion about when it comes to America. Hey, everybody know, keep your opinion to yourself, because they will come over here and do something to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Al.
It says, therefore it is no great thing of his ministers also to be transformed as the ministers of righteousness,
Right. They have their Jesuits. They have their people who infiltrate different organizations to get up in there, to overtake them, to overthrow them. Starting with the White House, they been did that. Of course, they did that with the Catholic Church, because you had the Holy Catholic Church at one point in time, right? That's when Jake was ruling. But what they did was infiltrate it and took it over to now there's nothing but Edomites that rule that thing, right? But
whose end shall be according to their works.
yeah, so at the end of the day, you got the fatness of the earth by the sword, but even Yahushua, who was Isaac, who gave you the blessing, said, "Put up thy sword and thy sheath, for he that live by the sword shall die by the sword." So that's going to be to your end. That's your end. You're done anyway. So all this complaining, whining, hey, you got the fatness of the, ain't no sense of complaining no more, man. It's it. Just enjoy yourself, man. Right? Right? I would tell you stop being the devil, but you're doing such a good job. Yeah. Right? You can't.
He's stuck in that role.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Go to that First Maccabees 3. You know, because going into, that's how they deceived the world. 3 and 38. Being part of the way that they deceived the earth.
First Maccabees 3 and verse 38. Then Lycus chose Ptolemy, the son of Dormides.
38. 48. I mean, 38. I said 38. It's like it. Oh yeah, but you can read it and then jump down. That proved it was going at the time. You can do 38 and then jump down to 48.
Nicanor and
Start
Gorgias. It says, then Lysis chose Ptolemy.
First Maccabees chapter
3 and 38.
38, yeah.
It says, then Lysis chose Ptolemy,
right, with your Edomites.
The son of Dormides, Nicanor and Gorgias, mighty men of the king's friends.
Right.
And with them he sent 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Judea,
right,
and to destroy it as the king commanded.
Right, that's the thing they've been wanting to do to us, man. And they've been trying to destroy us completely. Man, you skip down
to 48.
Yeah, 48. They want to completely destroy us, and then when they completely destroy us, right? Which, since they couldn't do it because the Lord said the nation shall abide forever, He wanted to just destroy our mentality, our understanding of knowing who we are, going into that we should be at all the streets dead in this place, Sodom and Egypt, with our dead bodies lying in the streets, not knowing who we are, not knowing we were Israelites. So since we didn't know, they took the land, and they're in the land claiming that they're the Israelis, right? So this is one of the things they wanted to do. Right?
We'll start at 45.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, First Maccabees 3, jump down to 45. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold.
Right, they did that then. This was in the time of the Greeks, but then they did it again in the time of 70 AD, and they're about to do it again right now in the time of 2025, because there ain't going to be no place for you to run to. They're going to be snatching people up, throwing you in the concentration camps, putting holy hell upon you, and telling you, hey, you got to get the karagma if you want to eat. You got to worship this beast. You got to worship their system. You got to worship their gods in order to live. And their God is no longer Cesare Borgia. It's no longer their scriptures. It's gonna be AI is gonna be their God. AI is their prophet, right?
The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased.
Right.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together.
The Lord said that there ain't going to be any more mirth, and that's where you're coming in now. You're coming at a time that mirth is being brought low, until the time there is going to be any no mirth. right?
and came to Mespha
Uh-huh.
over against Jerusalem,
Right.
for in Mespha was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes.
Yep.
And
Now,
laid-
that's represents the elect now, because the only one who's putting on sackcloth, praying, fasting, doing things is the elect. Because you other Israelites, you're running around in the world, you're doing your own thing. See, but Esau's about to come down with great wrath, knowing he had but a short time. Right? Keep going.
and laid open the book of the law,
Right.
wherein the heathen had sought
Salt.
to paint the likeness of their image.
And that's what they thought to do. Right? Right? Keep going. Was that it? So skip down to 58. They sought to do that.
Verse 58. And
But-
Judas said, arm yourselves and be valiant men.
But you had Judas Maccabeus, which were Levites, and they stood up. And see, that represents the elect now. The elect is the ones who's standing up. Right? We're saying put on your loins, stand up. Hey, we're the Israelites, man. Stir up your prayer memories. We're the Israelites. Not that we're gonna fight like how he did. That was a carnal way of fighting. Now this time it's spiritual. But we represent that through the spirit. Not physically, but spiritually. We're fighting back spiritually. Right? What?
And see that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations.
Right, see? And that's what we are. We're in a spiritual fight against all these nations, man. And that's what they've been doing. And they wanted to suffer our dead bodies to be in graves. Right?
It says that are assembled together against us to destroy us and our sanctuary. For it is better for us to die in battle
See?
than to behold the calamity of our people and our sanctuary.
Right.
Nevertheless, as the will of the Most High is in heaven, so let him do.
Right, see? And that's what we're going to come into. We're going to come into the time that we're going to have to be willing to die for the truth. Right? The sanctuary is us now. Right? We're the third temple now.
That's one thing the apostles Salakia all emphasize more and more and more. Do you know what you're involved in? Because this thing could mean that you're sacrificed, and that ultimate sacrifice is you dying for this word. You know?
Right? Yeah.
Are you prepared?
Right.
152.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
But yeah. So with all that, we don't give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Yeah, we like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, the Israelite foreigners, phenotype, may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball and Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Yeah.